What is a minority exactly? Well, here's two types. A racial minority, which are groups characterized by obvious physical characteristics, for example, their skin color. Also, ethnic minorities, a group that has different cultural or national traditions, different from the main population. Over time, these minorities have been oppressed. Some of the most notable oppressions are towards Native Americans and African Americans. Several minorities have been oppressed and face discrimination. You can be told you don't look the part for a job, or you might not be able to handle the workload simply because you are a minority. Yes, America has begun to advance by having their first African American president, Barack Obama. There's no denying we're not moving forward. But after seeing all the senseless violence towards minorities is making us question, how much progress is really being made? The story is not being told to bash Caucasian Americans. It's being told to bring attention to minorities and talk about what goes through their mind on a daily basis and their decision process. This is a story that needs to be told. This is the minority story.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team here.
Okay, now before I start, let's get a little background on what an HBCU is. An HBCU is an historically black college or university. The first HBCU founded was Cheyney University in Pennsylvania in 1837. The goal of this school was to educate black Americans. Some other HBCUs are Spelman College, Howard University, and Hampton University. There are 101 other HBCUs. These schools graduate nearly 20% of African Americans who earn an undergrad degree. They're excellent at educating African Americans. So now, let's see what people have to say about deciding whether to go to an HBCU or a regular college.
The scholarship money first, because I get more money because of my color, basically, and it helps me along the process because, I ain't rich. And I feel like the environment is very different. You get a different type of vibe from going to a HBCU than from a regular college. I had a scholarship, so I had to go where the money went. But I feel like my choices for colleges weren't really specific, but I definitely like to see a different experience. So I was like, oh, HBCU, that's kind of a different experience. So I was like, I might as well come here too. Plus the money.
In those days, we didn't have much of a choice. Our parents could not afford to send us to the other colleges. We had to go where we had a chance at scholarships and things to help us. They didn't want to give us scholarships to the regular colleges. We went where we were comfortable and accepted.
I enjoy historically black colleges. I feel like it means more to give more to my, more back to my black people. I'm a big, big believer in giving back to my black culture.
Now that we talked about HBCUs, let's talk about discrimination. Discrimination is the unjust, prejudicial treatment of different categories of people or things, especially on the grounds of race, age, or sex. This can prevent people from getting jobs and ultimately feeling like the underdog. Let's see if minorities feel like they were the underdog or still are the underdog.
Being a minority, my summers in North Carolina, you were treated differently. If you went into a store and you liked a pair of shoes, you couldn't try them on. If you tried them on, you had to buy those shoes whether they fit or hurt your feet. You were not allowed to go into certain stores. When you went to the train stations, they had the black sections, the white sections. And if you wanted something to eat, you had to go outside to a little rinky-dink window and get your food. You felt inferior, but we knew we weren't, but that's the way we were treated.
Of course, yeah. Especially when I'm in the office and I'm sitting there with a bunch of other white people and I'm the only black person in the room. But honestly, it just makes me fight harder for it. It means more to me if you fight harder for something. Being the underdog is something black people are good at. Black people always have to work 2 times harder than white people do because white people have more easy. So I'm all about that white privilege.
People judge you right off the bat, you're dark skinned, you're probably not going to be as good as the next person who's probably lighter. Yeah, so it's kind of hard, but sometimes we have to just get through it and just brush it off. But again, I feel like some people, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I feel like some people don't give you the chance to even prove like what you can do. You could be probably better than the other person who's probably like lighter than you or something, but they won't give you that chance because they just look at you on the outside instead of inside.
Yes. When I joined the Navy at the age of 15, the only thing you could be in the Navy was a mess attendant. Like wash dishes, clean up rooms, make up beds, serve the officers. You was a butler. And there were a lot of other things that you couldn't do. When we was stationed in Florida, we couldn't go to PX. We couldn't play pool. We couldn't join other white sailors doing what they was doing, playing ball, playing football, and other things we couldn't do.
Minorities are feeling as if they are still underdogs. We also see this a lot with crime towards minorities. In 2013, reports showed that out of 3,407 crimes that were racially motivated, 66.4% were targeted towards African Americans alone. We also see this with the hashtag Black Lives Matter movement, a movement which fights for justice for victims like Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown. So how do minorities feel seeing all this media coverage of violence towards minorities?
I guess keeps us awake, I guess you could say, because we don't really get to see like every day like what goes on in other people's like lives, and we see it on the news and how people are being treated and affected. It kind of like brings awareness to us, like, oh, like, well, some people, you know, don't have it like we do, like on the greater end of the stick, but yeah, I think it just makes us keep it more aware.
It makes me feel like nothing has changed. Not since the days of Emmett Till. Nothing has gotten better. We thought we had made progress, but this just goes to show things are still the same. The men that killed Emmett Till went free. With Trayvon Martin, his killer walks the street. The young man that killed 9 people in a church in South Carolina walks free. And the police even took him to McDonald's and fed him before they took him to jail. Had he been black, he would have been beaten. Had he killed white people, he'd be locked up under the jail. Nothing has changed.
It's sad, you know, it shouldn't happen, but it's happening because nobody's doing anything about it. So until somebody does something about it, then it will keep continuing. But it's really sad because there's so many young people nowadays just dying. And my mom told me back in the day, when she was younger, you really never saw young kids die that much as you see today.
Disturbing. I mean, if anything happen, it's always African American. Anytime somebody get killed, get raped, they scream, a black man did it. And all my life, I realized what it had been when Trayvon Martin got killed. I look at the TV and it's a shame that a white man killed him. Now he's trying to sell his gun. There's really no law in this United States for a black man. If a black man smoking marijuana, they give him 20 years. If a white man smoking marijuana, they slap him on the hand. It's really a white world, and have been. Although I'm 88 years old, I've been in this world for 88 years, and I've seen a whole lot of uncomfort for blacks.
It's horrible. Probably like the worst thing that ever happened. And it's honestly sad because in 2016 we shouldn't still be going through stuff like this, but it's never going to stop. It's the reality of it, in my opinion. No matter what happens, it's never going to stop. White people are always going to try and keep putting down black people, and black people are always going to keep trying to fight back. We just don't give up.
In conclusion, you can see how being a minority is affecting your lives. People have gone through a lot, seen a lot, and are continuing to experience life as a minority. But America is slowly shifting and becoming a more accepting environment. Thank you for watching Our Story, The Minority Story.